Hello and welcome everyone. I hope you understood the basics of Figma in the previous video. In this video, we're going to talk about basic concepts and we're going to build a framework for our website. Hello and welcome back everyone. In this video, we're going to talk about a project and we're going to use the Figma tools that we learned in the previous video. We're going to use the tools of Figma to develop a website known as Google. I'm pretty sure you must have heard about it. And we're going to design the layout first. We're going to wireframe the entire layout in this first part of the video. And in the second part of the video, we're going to finalize with all the logos and everything to add the functionality which is required. Okay, without any further ado, let's get started with the first and the main, first introduction part where we're going to do the wireframing. Okay, let's go over here, go to the Figma. So what I've done is I've opened a new project and I'm going to name it Google Rep, okay, Google Replica. Now, the first thing is I'm going to go over here, I'm going to go to File and I'm going to go to a new Figma Jam file. What is Figma Jam? We talked about it earlier as well. Figma Jam is like a notepad where you can draw your ideas and you have a wireframe idea of what exactly are you going to do and how we're going to do. So it's like a planner, okay? We're going to plan things first, then execute it. That's very important to know. If you don't plan things out, things can turn disastrous. It's better to have like a idea first, okay? So how are we gonna do things? You can go to brainstorming boards like these ones which are there, which is pretty good, which are helpful for like designing architecture and designing all the layouts and everything. But for me, I don't think I need them. So let's start with the basic layout. So I have Google opened over here, and luckily it's new year, so we have the new branding over here as well. But I'm going to look for the basic templates and layouts, which says I have the footer over here, I have the top part over here, and I have the logo and the search bar over here. So I'm going to divide the entire screen into 3 sections. Okay. This is the top part, this is the body, and this is the footer. Okay. Now, what I can see from the main website is that we have the logo over here, okay, and the search bar. So the logo goes over here, and the search bar goes over here. Okay. Once these two are here, we have 2 buttons over here. Okay, we're gonna add those 2 buttons. Okay, and this is not wireframing. This is just the planning part, so that we know what we are going to do, and we split the entire layout into multiple sections. We have 2 text over here, one of this cube and then my face. Okay, so we can leave that part, but I considered looking into details and working on those is a good idea, so I'm gonna put those over here. Then I am going to see the bottom part which says the country. So I'm in Sweden, Stockholm, so Sweden goes over here. For you it can be India. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 4, my bad. And the other side was 3. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's then compare. Okay, everything is Google offered in Swedish. No, I don't want to look at that. I think we can skip that part, but you can add that in case you want to have a little bit more detail. But that covers how our main wireframe is going to. I mean how our website is going to look. So what I'm doing right now is just planning. Okay, this is essentially done with a lot of people in mind. So you can click on share and you can have more people working with you simultaneously, which is a good thing. This also allows for collaborations to happen. This allows for more people to work with you, and allows for things to happen with multiple people, which is pretty good. Now the thing is, for our website we are already taking a reference which is Google, so we don't need to discuss with everyone and anyone. What we can do is we just need to have an idea how this is going to look. Then what you can do is you can move it a little on the side and you can do a search as well. So let us suppose I search for Stockholm. Okay, yep, Stockholm, my bad, this spelling is wrong. Yeah, Stockholm. So after doing a search, what I get is I get the second page, which is after a search page, and I can in case I want to plan it, I can plan this as well. So okay, you can undo this. Let's just keep the same size for our reference, and yeah, I am going to essentially have the search bar over here, which is on the top, which is the top part, header as well, or some people call it header. The bottom is the footer, which says the location and everything. So here, and then you have the search results. Okay, so you have result 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then you have the this site description, which is over here. Okay, that concludes, and that tells us what exactly do we need and how it's going to look. And we know for a fact that this is going to happen from here. So this is going to be a link from here to here, which means that is our page 1, that is our page 2, and we are connecting it together. Okay, and also we know that if we click on this button, we go back to the main page. Okay, so you can actually mention that over here using arrow keys. Okay, let me undo it. Yep, so we have the logo, and we have the arrow, and I'm going to put it like this, so it's going to go back, making it easier for everyone to understand that, you know, we can jump back from this point to this point and make things easier and simpler. Okay, essentially allowing us to, you know, also understand that this sort of layout helps us to conclude how our final framework is going to look. Okay, I'm not considering all the other buttons, you know, like if I click on this, what is going to happen, and if I click on that, what is going to happen, because then it's going to be like a lot of ideation frames and everything. But in actual plans, you actually discuss all of those. That's why this Figma Jam board is like pretty huge. You can discuss pretty much everything that you want to do. One for the home page, usually for all the designers, what they do is they type the text over here as home, and they increase the size of it. Or, you know, create like a heading, so it's easier to navigate that this is the home and this is the index, or sometimes they call it index as well, index. Okay, that's how you start. That's how you say that, you know, this is the index page where I'm going to start with, and this is from where I'm going to link all the pages together. Very, very important. Okay, and then you can start adding small descriptions in case you want. I'm going to use the text tool for this. I'm going to add the logo. Okay, so I'm going to say that this is the logo, and that goes over here. I'm going to make it like a heading, so it's pretty huge. Okay, and then you can mention all of these small things which you want, but for your own description. But this is what helps you to get an idea, or you know, map with image. Okay, this goes over here. This gives you an idea of how things are done when you're giving it for a client, or when you're showing it to the people. And make things easier for you know, everyone to, you know, see and examine. Essentially pretty much everything, each and everything that you can think for can be done over here. So let's just keep it like this, and that's how it's going to look. Now this gave you an idea of how things are drawn first. Okay, and by drawing I mean, you know, you have the basic layout over here. Now what you do is you go to the Figma, the main Figma app, and you basically create a new frame. Okay, you can create a new frame over here. I'm going to go and make it for desktop. Right now I'm using a MacBook, so I am having a MacBook 14, so I'm going to go with this one. Now over here, if you see, we have the layout being set for a MacBook. That's absolutely fine. You can get a more generalized one layout in case you want. If you go for what do you call, browser, I guess, yeah, you can go for the desktop edition, or a presentation as well, slide ratio 16:9. Even this is also a standardized one, because this has 1920 x 1080. Usually all these websites are more dynamic, so if you right click and click on inspect, you can see that the inspect is going to give you the control to resize, and you can see that the dimensions are changing all the time. So if you click like this, you can see the dimensions are changing, and this gives you an idea that the website automatically adapts to the dimensions. That's on the coding part. But for the initial layouts, you can stick to a standard resolution where you can stick around and see like, okay, this is how it's done, and this is how it's going to be looking finally at the end. Okay, this is pretty important because this also gives you an idea that how small elements can be broken down, and how small chunks can be broken down for a standardized layout first. Okay, we stick to a standardized layout for a reference, and then we make multiple layouts for different dependencies. That's why we have multiple layers. Okay. So, and in case you want to do it for tablets as well, or phones as well, you can do it right away. Pretty helpful. Okay, let's close this. Let's click over here, and let's start breaking down and adding these elements part by part. What we can do is we can start with the wireframe. For this first video, we are going to draw a rectangle. Okay, that's going to be one rectangle. I'm going to copy and paste the rectangle to here. Now we have the top, header, and the footer. Okay, once you have the header and the footer, we have the body, which is essentially empty right now. We're not adding anything right now. So what we're going to do is we are going to just follow the layout that we planned. I'm going to add the logo. Okay, it's not exactly at the center, but I am going to push it a little above, so it's over here. Okay, off centered. Okay, and then we have the buttons. If you see, it's exactly, there's a search bar first. Okay, so let's add a search bar, and the search bar goes all the way up to here. Okay, perfect. Now that makes sense. Now what we're going to do is we're going to curve the edges. Okay, we are going to curve the edges using this. Okay, this increases. Okay, now that's more like done. Now we have the search bar. Okay, now since we have the search bar, what we can do is we can have the search button as well, these two buttons which are there, and we're going to add these over here. Okay, one done, and the second one, let's add that over here. So I'm exactly at the center. Now a good thumb of rule is that when you do this, you can just simply move this block right, and move this block right as well. Perfect. You have an idea how it's going to look. And this is more or less how what all things I want. Anything I'm missing? I'm missing the text and the top images. For that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to increase the stroke. What is the stroke? Stroke is basically the border which is there. I'm going to make it empty. Okay, so I'm keeping no color, which is I'm going to make it white. Okay, and for this as well, I'm going to make it white. After making it white, I'm going to make the stroke as black. Now we have the black stroke. This stroke increase, this and this. Okay, do this and stroke it. Okay, perfect. So now what we have is we have the essential layout of what it takes to make a website which is going to look like this. Okay, we have the basic wireframe, and what we can do is we can start adding rulers as well in case you want. That's just an additional thing, but something that I feel is like sometimes important in terms of adding more and more precision to your design. So I'm going to add a ruler like this. Okay, and I'm going to add another ruler like this, which is going to be exactly in the center. Okay, so now I know how the center is and where the center is. Now you can see that the offset distance is a little far away. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use a ruler to lock it to this thing, and I'm going to use another ruler to lock it to another distance as well. Now you can actually see the ruler difference. Okay, that's how I do it. You can see it's 736 versus 756. So if you do the math right, okay, it's essentially 30 and 50, which is 20. Okay, so where you have to be is 56, 66, and 76. So you have to be exactly at 76 to be exactly on the same point. Okay, perfect. Now I know this is there. Exactly. So now my buttons are logged, and now my references are also logged, which also tells me that that wireframe is essentially getting into a very structured format, and I can start relying on the fact that the dimensions and everything are going to be pretty much fixed. Okay, let's fix this. Perfect. Okay, now we have this layout done. Okay, and we are going to essentially move this layout as well. Okay, now this is done. This is done as well. Okay, perfect. This tells us that the layout is essentially getting into a shape, and we are having the layout being done in a very structured format. We are going to add more rulers like these, and make our design more like a more planned one. So what you see right now is the exact wireframe that you can use for more design references. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make an exact design reference for a mobile phone platform as well, and for that I'm going to go and add another frame, and this time I'm going to make it for let us start with 13 Pro Max. Okay, and I'm going to make it over here. I'm going to keep it over here. I'm going to go to inspect. Okay, let's see if we have 13 Pro Max, or we have the latest iPhone X. Okay, I think this is also fine. Okay, now what I can see from the from this design is that our headers and footers are almost at the same point, but we have few elements which are removed, okay, from the header essentially. Okay, okay, so this is there, Let's start converting that design into an iPhone design. The easiest way you can go with it is you can select all the elements, Control C and Control V. Okay, this is going to duplicate your entire board, and you're not affecting your main board at all. Okay, another next step is going to be you select all the elements and you start scaling them down. Okay, now so what does scaling them down means? It means that you are going to essentially scale them down to a point where they're exactly of the same dimensions as of this one. Okay, so this is what the software is actually doing as well for you. It's not actually recreating those elements again, it's rather just scaling it down for you. Okay, so now we have scaled it down. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move this to the bottommost point like this. Okay, and now I'm going to just rearrange these elements a little, and I'm going to see from the reference. Now you can see that this reference and this is almost looking the same, and what I want is maybe I can increase the size to a limited ratio. Okay, with a limited ratio, and have it over here. Okay, perfect. That gives me the confidence that this design looks better. Okay, and I can actually get rid of this one, and I can start adding rulers for this, like this. Okay, like this, 1, 2, and add a center ruler, which is very important. Okay, center ruler basically helps to define the center position. Yeah, like this, and like this, and like this. Okay, you can add more like this and like this. Okay, perfect. Now this gives me an idea that this is how my wireframe is going to look, and this is how I want it to look. Okay, I have basically done both the mobile-based platform and also the web-based platform layout, and now I have the wireframe. In the next video, I'm going to talk about how you can convert this wireframe into a full application sort of like layout on Figma itself, and how we can use the same wireframe to start adding elements, start adding connections, and start prototyping the entire design as well. I hope you enjoyed this one. I'll see you in the next one. Till then, happy learning and peace.